Russell Wilson and his former coach, Sean Payton, are having a little drama. So Sean Payton in a press conference said, we were hoping that the change would have happened long after our games. So pretty much saying they wanted to play Russ Wilson and not Dart. So I took this as a slap to Russell Wilson. I don't know how you guys took it. And Russ, he's not really one to contribute to the drama, but he actually took to Twitter. So here is his tweet. He said, it's classless, but I'm not surprised. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting after 15 years later through the media.
So weak.
So, really? You think that's so weak?
That's weak for him right there. Twitter tough guy. Russ has curated this image of, oh, I'm special. Every team he's been on, there's been a disconnect between him and teammates because he thinks he's special. And he's going to bring up Bountygate and put that out there in a tweet. Like, Russ broke character, and it didn't hit the way he wanted it to hit. He thought that was going to drop like a bomb on Payton.
So you're on Sean Payton's side?
I'm on Sean Payton's side, yeah. Russ is a nerd.
A nerd?
And of course, if I was Payton and I saw what Russ produced for Denver, I'd want to face Russ instead of Jackson Dart 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, people get offended too easy for my liking. I don't think it was a big deal. I think he said the truth. Jackson Dart, I'm glad. I wish you would have played anybody else but Jackson Dart against us because he had a hell of a game and brought him back. The only good game Russell Wilson had was against, who was that? He threw for like 500 yards.
Oh, the Giants? Dallas Cowboys?
Oh, it was the Cowboys.
The worst
Cowboys,
defense in the league.
it was the Cowboys. Yeah. Jesus.
And that game was at Larry's World, right?
I think Sean might have been a little out of line, maybe throwing a little jab and then run. I mean,
because of...
Yeah.
You guys,
Russell
you guys in these Twitter wars are too much for me.
Kicker, Brandon Aubrey.
You're talking about Rodgers relying on a kicker. Your kicker
That
kicked
kicker.
60 plus.
Yeah.
You guys are just you guys are too read into Twitter. Oh my God, he offended me. He's classless. They gave him the most dead money in the history of football, for God's sakes.
Right.
Be a little grateful. I mean, something, you don't have to tweet every time you have a thought in your head, right? Be like me. Tweet once every month.
Well, I thought it was...
Who lets these guys on Twitter?
That was wild, though.
But that's the thing. Russ is so calculated.
He never does that.
Everything is well thought out, and I bet when he sent that, he was like, "Oh yeah, I zinged him good." And it's like that just falls so flat. Like Russ can't cook. That was, I mean,
I really feel bad for you, Russ. Sorry you got $83 million dead money, and sorry that offended
Life
you,
is
buddy.
so hard.
So hard.
Yeah. I didn't, like you said, I didn't think it was bad what Sean Payton said. I've heard a lot worse from coaches in press conferences that when you have a bad ending of your relationship when they left Denver. But I thought it was unnecessary, though, a little bit from Sean Payton. I did. I thought that the timing was off to me because you just had one of the greatest comebacks, if not the greatest comebacks in the history of the NFL. And you decided to take a little bit of a shot at Russell Wilson in that moment. I didn't understand it. And he said, I didn't have any intention of going after Russ, but if you watch the interview back, he's a coach, and he's a very calculated person, and coach speak. And after he gave credit to New York and said, hey, Dart, gave them that spark, that's the type of guy he is, he takes a long pause. And even before that, he paused. But then he pauses again, and he waits and goes, I just wish they would have started him long after we played them. Yeah. And to me, I thought he was in, which he's not wrong, but my point is, in that moment, why did he say that?
You're right. It was
it's unnecessary, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
that's why I'm riding with
You're
Payton.
a coach, and you just had that unbelievable win. Why are we taking shots now at this point? And again, I'm going to defend Russ a little bit. I know people give him a hard time. I thought I had to check the Twitter account like 3 or 4 times. I thought it was a burner account or a fake account.
Right.
I didn't think he had it in him. I was like, all right, good for him because.
It was so weak.
But it's been unfortunate. The last couple of years he's struggled. He's been bad. I get it. But people forget. In Seattle, Russ was like that. He was really like that from about 2012 to 2020. He was a damn good quarterback.
He also had one of the best defenses in the NFL.
He did, but he won. He had 10 Pro Bowls. I mean, he's Seattle's all-time leading passer. He did some things well. I just think the disrespect right now is a little wild towards Russell Wilson. I know he's not the best character guy. You don't love the way that he acts. I've heard rumors about personal office and all these things. Look, I don't know if that's true or not.
It's true.
It's true.
Okay, so all of that, with that being said, and you could argue maybe that was for him to be successful. Don't love that. But still, we sit here act like he's not a good player and didn't do a lot and didn't win a Super Bowl when he was. Right. And I know he lost the Super Bowl, too, on that last play. Should have gave it to Marshawn. But overall, I mean, I think he's hurting his legacy right now. It's just unfortunate
When we
that
make I think make a big deal about all these little tweets and all that stuff and the sensitivity of people. You don't have to reply. I mean, if you're going to be a starting quarterback and expect to play in a National Football League, all you young kids, you're going to have to deal with some adversity and some negative publicity. But you don't have to respond to everybody or everything that you see or hear about. You'll go crazy and you'll lose your mind. Just
Okay.
worry about your next snap,
In
your next
general,
play.
I completely concur with everything you just said. But to everybody's point, this was a Russ who'd never done this before.
Right.
And he felt so deeply about it because he was so wounded by Sean when Sean coached him for the 1 year. Sean inherited him and didn't want him, obviously.
Right.
That he felt like he had to respond because Russ is done. Russ is out.
Yeah.
Like he's cooked. He knows it. So for the first and last time in his career as a player, he said, I'm not going to take this anymore from him, because don't forget, they had a sideline incident in that year. It was late in the year. They were getting blown out. I can't remember where the game was, where it was 42-9, and the screen, it was 42-17 at Detroit late in the year. And do you remember? I think that they had it 1st and goal at the 1 and didn't score. And I think Russ changed a play at the line of scrimmage that Sean had called that he did not want changed. So when Russ came off, Sean went at him and went hard at him, and I just didn't like it. And I don't know, I'm interested to see what you say about this, but when he's a quarterback who's made 9 Pro Bowls, there's just one position on the field you don't do that to in front of the world. You don't attack him on the sideline verbally, not physically, but he went hard at him and was just screaming at him. And I can't remember when I saw a head coach do that to a decorated quarterback on the sideline. Just the one, you played the position. It's hard to play, man. It's the hardest position in sports. And you don't do that to him, even with the wheels falling off of a game at Detroit. And I think Russ never got over that he showed him up the way, I don't know if any star quarterback has ever been shown up by a head coach the way Sean showed him up in that game at Detroit. That's just me. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, no, that was a bad look for Sean. I'm
Yeah.
sure Sean regrets it. I know that back in the day, it was a common thing. You know, Bill Parcells, I think he went after Phil.
Oh, he
Smith.
did. They
Yeah.
screamed.
That was just common me growing up. So I'm not going to give any sympathy for a coach yelling at a quarterback. I came up, I played for Howard Schnellenberger. I mean, I would have never made it a week
I
without
know.
getting yelled at. And go run another.
Did you ever yell at your starting quarterback in Washington? Did you
No,
ever do that?
I would
No?
never do that.
Okay.
Sarcastic.
Well, did you
Hold
ever
on.
in the
Someone,
game?
Oh,
someone
I had a
someone
bad.
those
I had a
flips.
bad press conference after a game.
well,
It's
you
well
had-
noted.
that-
I had a
that's
bad one.
different.
That was
And Sweet J yelled.
That was
never.
bad, but I never really went after them during a game. No, they have too much on their plate. They don't need. They don't need that. But you know, I if that's why the whole Twitter thing, Russell was still damaged because of that incident. Tough it up, man. It's just you're playing a tough position, man. It's a man's game. Be a man.
But I agree. But
Take criticism.
To that
That's it.
point, Sean Payton saying that pissed off Russ, then Russ saying that should
had a
be
great
equal playing
career,
field.
man.
Like
He
no one
doesn't
should be
need to bring
offended
this
then
shit up and
if he
stir this up.
responds.
I
just
mean,
because-
it wasn't even a good response out of Russ. It's him breaking character, and obviously
But
there
that's
was
what
some
I'm saying.
tension.
We're
behind the
talking
scenes.
about it now because he responded. If he doesn't respond, nobody's going to remember what Sean Payton said at the press conference.
Right.
It's dead.
I remember hearing that and thinking,
Now
wow,
we
you
feel
were
like-
hoping that he was going to be
Now we're
starter
commenting
long
on
after. Well,
Russ.
he was a
Is
starter
this-
before
is
that.
this psych
Your former
damage?
quarterback.
Is this psych damage? Poor Russ. I mean, now we're
But I
coming
can say
on
the
that.
same thing now that Russ says that. Poor Sean. Like, who gives it? Like, Sean probably doesn't give a shit. Like, Russ said what he said. I've seen former athletes say a lot worse, or current athletes say a lot worse about coaches, about players, about all these different relationships. It's like, all right, Russ wants to respond how he wanted to respond. No one should be offended either way then, is what I'm saying.
But that's a win for Peyton. Peyton took a little dig, and he got Russ to break character and Russ to respond. That's a win. When you're talking shit to somebody, I'm going to come at you, talk shit,
I don't know,
and if
man.
I get you to give a
But
bad
then Sean-
response,
But I
oh,
see-
I won. Okay.
I
Don't way too deep into this.
Yeah, I don't know.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But that's what I'm saying, Rich. Wouldn't you say also the opposite of that is Russ is always kind of just taking it, and everyone makes fun of him for the let's ride and all that other shit?
Yeah.
And now he finally responds. I saw that and I was like, all right, good for you. Like,
Well, Peyton doesn't
stick up
like
for
him
yourself.
for the way that he carried himself in Denver. We hear all the stories. He had his own office. He wouldn't meet with teammates. He wouldn't watch film.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes to make Peyton not like him and say that, right? That goes out there. We wanted Russell Wilson to start, da-da-da-da-da, because we didn't want to face Jackson Dart, right?
But Peyton did come on after and be like, "Oh, that wasn't towards Russell
Of course,
at all."
yeah, you're in damage
he
control.
knew
you
what
know?
he was saying, though, in that.
He
Yeah,
knew.
put the toothpaste back in the bottle. But
Yeah.
for Russ to say that and for it to be so weak and for it to miss, it's just an L for us. And he's riding the pine. He's riding the pine. He's most likely going to be done after the season.
Yeah,
So
I will agree with that. I don't know if I love what he said, but I like that he said something to stick up for himself. I didn't mind.
He didn't say anything.
I
He
agree.
tweeted it. There's a big difference.
And that too, yeah.
He didn't say a word.
Well, you're acting like
keyboard warrior back there.
Sean Payton didn't say this to Russ's face. He said it in the post-game press conference as New York was heading to the airport to get on the plane.
Yeah.
He said it
But when
in
is
front of the
when
reporters.
is he with Russ now? Saying,
And I don't even, does Sean Payton even have Twitter? I don't even know if he's got a Twitter.
No.
I don't know if he's going to respond on Twitter.
No.
I just think both ways. Like, he said what he said. Russ responded. All right,
I'll
cool. Everybody
get
got their
back.
shots in. Move on.
I'll get back.
tactless.
Oh, I'm going to
You-
cook up a good one. He probably didn't even write that.
probably didn't.
Someone in his
That's the
team
first thing
wrote that.
I thought.
Someone in his
He did not
team
write
wrote that.
The first thing I thought is, who
Russ
wrote
came
this?
over and looked
Russ
at it. He's
woke up.
like, oh, yeah, that's fire. Send that. Let's ride.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Okay. So to your point, if you talk to the Legion of Boom guys, starting with Richard Sherman,
Yes.
they say that everything fell apart based around Russell Wilson and around the call at the end of the game of the Super Bowl when they looked like they had Tom Brady beaten.
Yeah.
And Pete Carroll and the coordinator
Yeah.
allowed the ball to stay in Russ's hands for the pass that changed life for Malcolm Butler and for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, and that Carroll's love for Russell was the reason that the locker room just completely splintered.
Right.
So I'm not defending Russell's career.
Same. I'm glad
Yeah,
you said that.
okay.
Neither am I.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in this exact
Yeah.
situation, he had every right to respond. That's the only thing I'll say.
Sure.
I thought he had every right to respond and defend himself because he normally doesn't. And he's
Yeah.
So
done
if I
his
say
job.
something derogatory about you, you're going to tweet about it and say, Jason.
No, I mean, I don't give a shit.
Well,
I don't care enough.
Yeah.
But I'm
How
also
old is
not
Russ?
I'm going to fire back.
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Coach, Coach, I've seen it
love
all on Twitter.
Twitter.
I
Yeah.
played in Cleveland, man. I got all of that on
I got a
Twitter.
good story to kind of give a
Yeah.
synopsis of this. Marshawn Lynch, when they were playing together in Seattle, and they had a ton of success. He didn't even have Russell Wilson's number in his phone. He did an interview and he said he had to hit up someone in Russell Wilson's camp
Yeah.
just to get through to Russell
I understand.
Wilson.
I got
When you're the leader of the team and you're the franchise quarterback,
Yeah.
you can't have this shit going on.
Yeah.
And Carroll jumped on sides with Russ,
He did.
protected him, but his bread was buttered on the defensive side. If
Yep.
they don't have that defense, they don't
Yep.
have that success.
Yeah, but he made the Pro Bowl 9 times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, and he was great. No doubt. And the Darryl Bevel offense, they made that offense for him.
Yeah. And he's a damn good football player. That's what I'm saying. Like,
But if they had the Cowboys,
grew up during that era
if you had
too,
the
watching
Cowboys
Seattle.
defense,
There's a sick deep ball.
yeah, he could throw that moon
He
ball.
did it.
There's
Yeah,
not a lot of
throw
people.
it, yeah.
Coach, there's not a lot of
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
can get that much height on a 3 ball and still get it about 55 down there. But that, to Skip's point, I'm with you fully on that. I don't want it to sound like I'm defending who he was as a player in the locker room, who he was in the organization, because I don't know. And I've heard stories. I don't know what's true and what's not. I'm just saying in this exact scenario, Sean Payton took a jab. Russell Wilson responded. I think both parties had every right to do what they did.
okay, so who won?
Who won?
Who won?
That's
think
the
anybody-
question.
I
Whose
think-
side are you on? Who
I don't
won?
think anybody won, really. Like, Sean Payton backpedaled and said, I didn't mean that, actually, instead of just kind of ignoring it. And then, like you said, Russ went to Twitter instead of saying it in person, so you could argue that he didn't win. I think both of them, I thought it was unnecessary, the whole thing. It should have just been, hey, we just came back down. We scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And you could have still said, that quarterback gave them a spark, or that's a great quarterback, or I was worried about preparing for this guy and left it at that
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of pausing, then saying, I just wish, or I wish they would have made this change long. He didn't say after, he said long after we play this game.
Yeah.
So here's the irony of this. You guys won't remember, but before the Giants played at the Cowboys, I sat right here in this chair and said, God, please don't start Jackson
You
Dart.
did say
And I was
that.
going crazy, and
Right.
the whole group said, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You know, like, that would be crazy to start Jackson Dart. That would be advantage Dallas. And I'm like, no, not this kid. This kid's got some special thing going on
Yeah.
where he's going to rise to the occasion. And then the irony of that was Russ goes out and puts up, 37 points and throws 5 moonball touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So were you taking a dig at Russ when you originally said that exact
Yes, I
comment?
was.
Okay.
And Russ, I was hoping he'd fire back at me on Twitter, but he didn't.
Skip's taking a dig at
Skip
that.
loves a Twitter battle.
Yeah,
but
he
Russ
almost
was-
got even with me on the football field, but he did throw a pick in overtime, and we won. So,
Okay,
Right?
there we have
Did,
it.
you go.
You did do that.
yeah.
Well, ending the show with a little bit of drama, but...